Today's topic is from spirituality to science. And you might be wondering what's this topic all about, because spirituality and science, generally people don't think they go together. In fact, if you talk about religion and God and soul, people think it's myth, superstition, blind faith, especially in this modern world. And but science is failing. Okay, so anyway, so the point is that but if you read science properly now, in this postmodern age, which we call it as, science is forced to come face to face with consciousness and God. There are things in science which is avoided in academic world, which points out that there is existence of consciousness or soul and God. If you see all these evidences from an unbiased and very neutral point of view. Now, why are we talking about all these things? Because, modern world, are you happy, all of you? Yes or no? Yes, okay, good. Are you peaceful? What do you say about that?
Not all the time.
No. Not most of the time. And are you satisfied?
No.
Of course no. Otherwise...
That's the idea. Never.
Yeah. So the point is, we have happiness, but we don't have peace and satisfaction. And when I was reading Bhagavad Gita, if you read Bhagavad Gita, not as a Hindu scripture, but as scientific book and as a manual of life, you will understand that there's so many laws how to lead a life properly. And one of the verse in Bhagavad Gita comes, Kuta Shanti Kuta Sukham. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, wherever there is no peace, there can be no question of happiness. And wherever there is no happiness, there can be no question of satisfaction. So your happiness without peace is actually having no value, because what do you mean by happiness if your mind is full of anxiety? You don't mean anything, no? My mind is anxious, but I'm happy. So that happiness is not happiness. That happiness is what scriptures, Bhagavad Gita says, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya. It is simply sensual excitement. You understand sensual excitement? Sensual excitement is different and happiness is different. So you see a movie and it's nice and you get excited, and then you come back and then after some time you get bored of again. Is it? Then again you go and see movie. So your mind is not actually happy, got excited for some time like a child. You take some toy and child says, ooh, whatever it is, and then throws off. And then next toy. So you don't have happiness if you don't have peace. And you don't have peace if you're not satisfied. You can't have peace if you're not satisfied. If your mind is full of so many desires, then your mind will not sit at peace. Is it? It makes sense, no? So this is law of life in Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't need a rocket science to understand this. Simply common sense. But common sense is very... We are not allowed to think. This is modern education and modern society. Don't think. Just calculate. That's what Heisenberg said. Don't think, just calculate. Just do your stuff. And whatever you want to achieve, that's all. This is modern society. You're not allowed to think. That is why you will not find any department of philosophy in school. Is there any subject philosophy in school? No. Till 12th class there is no subject philosophy. There is no subject. One wonders why. Why there is no subject philosophy? Even if you go to universities, at least in India, there is no philosophy department. If you go to Delhi University, there is a philosophy department. I went there to check out what's happening. There were just crows and nobody was there. It's not popularized. There's no propaganda. You should become a philosopher. No, you should become doctor, engineer, this. That's all. Philosopher, come on. You want to become crazy or what? That's a philosopher, that's the image, no? Big hairs and doing nothing and just sitting on table and thinking. That's the idea. So, but philosophy, if you, Bhagavad Gita speaks about philosophy of human life, and this is philosophy, happiness, peace and satisfaction. Now this is one thing. If you look around, so you want to be happy, we want to be peaceful, we want to be satisfied, but we are not. So what's the problem? That's what's the problem. So for this, if you people start reading scriptures and Vedas, they go to spirituality, is it? Okay, let's see there, what's there. Now most of the people who go to spirituality, they somehow get frustrated because they don't get proper answers. Or many people say, okay, then there is God, there is light, and some abstract answers, and it doesn't satisfy us intellectually. But if you read Vedas, what I found was, and what many people are finding is, that Vedas and Bhagavad Gita, they are full of science. There is a lot of science there. And these are various branches of Vedas. This is called Vidya, 14 branches of Vedas, which are mentioned in Manu Samhita. So don't think Vedas are talking about just some gods and Agni, Vayu, Indra, and it is talking about them, but then there is hardcore science. For example, there's phonetics, computer science. You know computer science? Computer science, it's based on Sanskrit. Chomsky, you know M. Chomsky? He was a computer linguist. And he said, if you go to Wikipedia, just Google, and in Wikipedia, it says his statement that I owe all credit to Panini, Sanskrit, for making computer language. And this is a different seminar I give, but I'm just giving you a preamble. So all those null in computer coding, loops and null and all this is all coming from Sanskrit. Lopa means null theorem. So and then you have poetry, entertainment. You have you have logic, which is in Nyaya. Mathematics is based on logic. You have maths, which is Brahmatark, which is coming from Rig Veda. That's a portion of Rig Veda mathematics. Calculus is a part of astrophysics. Basically, it was invented by Newton to find solar paths, planets, and that is already mentioned in Brahmatark, which mentions about calculus, and that is called Ganit Jyotish. Generally, you go to Jyotish, they see your hand, no? But that's one part of Jyotish, Bhavishya, but there's Ganit Jyotish, from which all maths are coming. In fact, there is research done by Indian Philosophical Sciences, IPC, and it is proved now that all your mathematics in Western world and science, it is coming from India. You go and have a look. It's not a big thing. Pythagoras' theorem was already there. You know about that, no? Vadhayan Rishi. Even 800 years back. Even if you see mathematics book, they will say Pythagoras didn't invent Pythagoras' theorem. He simply popularized in Western world. He was traveling, he got it there. Then, for example, military science, that's Dhanurved, entertainment, Gandharved, medicine, Ayurved. In fact, because I am a doctor, so I did allopathy and Ayurved both. Ayurved mentions 24 branches of medical science. One of them is allopathy, which we know. Other 23 branches we don't know. We are not aware how to treat the body. Because mostly allopathy is dealing with body, is it? But it's not dealing with mind. And according to medical science, all disease begins with mind and not just body. And that's basically homeopathy is based on this understanding. So you have so many sciences, and then you have so many arts in Vedas. Like, okay, fine, beauty parlor, that's coming from Vedic stuff. It's called Shekhar Kriya. And then fashion designing, carpentry, takshanam, tattooing is very common in Western world, no? So that's coming from Samudram. And then cooking, music, magic, Indrajal. These are all Vedic, Rig Veda, Yajur, Sam, Atharv. In fact, Bhagavad Gita talks about all of them. Have you read Bhagavad Gita, any one of you? No, you have heard about that? At least in India you might have heard, no? So read that book. These are all things there from Bhagavad Gita. It's not just Kaam karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. It's not like that. It's a bogus idea. That's not Bhagavad Gita. So, but the point is, when I was reading all these things, I understood that all these signs are present in Vedic knowledge much before Western, Western dominance or claim that science is of Western origin. It's not like that. Knowledge went from India when Mughals, Mughal attacked. Mughals, they attacked. Went from India to Baghdad. And there's a library in Baghdad, library of Toledo. You just have a look, and they have all our Sanskrit books there, stored there, and which in fact they were translating into Arabic. So you have heard about 𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗲𝗀? Just go on Google and have a look. He was a person who translated book of Brahmatark into algebra. Algebra basically it's Arabic word, algebra, and he translated from Sanskrit to Arabic language. And then when there were crusades, crusades, everybody knows Christendom. They took all these books from Baghdad library, Toledo, back to Europe, and there then they translated into their Greek language, and then most of this knowledge was accessible to Euclid. So he got that algebra book. In fact, some people even argue that there was no person like Euclid. If you go into research, there was no person. It's a speculated person, Euclid, just to claim that West is better than East for colonization. That was the agenda, no? If you have to colonize somebody, you have to say we are better than you, and that's what it happened. It's a big thing, history. If you want to read about this in detail, there's a book. And there's a book by C.K. Raju. He's a scientist, he's a mathematician in India. He's doing work on this. And you can go and have a look on C.K. Raju. So that's about Vedas. So I read all these things and I thought, so it makes sense, and there's a lot of science in Vedas. But at the same time, Vedas are also talking about soul, God, and mind. Those three things which are not talked in Western world. These are deleted, no? Mind is a debate whether it exists or not. Soul, forget it. It's for philosophers. God, come on, we are atheists. Don't worry about that. That's Western word. But in spite of so much science, still Veda says no. There has to be soul, there has to be God, and there has to be mind. Now this made many of, in fact me and many other scientists who are researching on this field, to think why in spite of so much scientific understanding in Vedas, they are claiming such things which appear superstitious, no? Soul, who has seen soul? Who has seen God? Why these rishis, who were so scientific and so philosophical in their approach, why they are bringing such things which need blind faith? But on the contrary, if you read Vedas, existence of mind, soul and God is very logical. There is no reason to believe that they do not exist. And today I am going to show you what are the scientific proof of their existence, not just philosophical proof. Now science, in fact, after 300 years of science, and they were avoiding God, Laplace said, you know Laplace? Yeah, Laplace. He said to Napoleon, there is no need of God in my equations. He said, finish. And then Newton, Galileo, they said, we don't need consciousness to explain universe. It's equations, just get equations and explain. So they were kept behind. But there are some things going on in science, in the forefront of science, where these things are coming again. And what are those? I'll just show you. But before that, this is a verse from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, the working indriyani parani ahor indrebhya param mana manasastu para buddhir parasastu hisaha. Their senses, then mind, intelligence and soul. This is what we are made of. Is it? If you think by common sense, it seems common sense. If you try to put some kind of your logic, wrong logic, then you will get confused. But common is pretty easy. You know what is senses? You know what is senses? What is senses? It's not C-E-N-S-U-S. It is S-E-N-S-E-S. Senses are this: eyes. We have 5 senses, no? Eyes. Then what else? Ears, nose, tongue and skin. 5 knowledge acquiring senses. We take knowledge. We take input data from this. Eyes we see, nose we smell, tongue we taste, skin, touch, and then what is left? 5. Ears, hear, no? Input. So these are senses. But higher than senses, there is mind. All this data goes where? Into your mind. You're seeing me, you're hearing me. Is it? And all this data goes to mind, and there everything is put together. You don't see me separately and hear me separately. No, it's not 2 frames going on. Just one thing. So that's done by mind. And higher than mind is intelligence. We take decision, and higher intelligence is soul. So for this seminar, let us take mind and intelligence 1. Don't worry about that. So there's body, mind and soul. But the question is mind and soul separate from body? Does soul exist? Does mind exist? That's not a question, because of course it exists. You have a mind and you're listening. No, you don't say, so anybody here without mind? Of course no. That's not a debate. Debate is whether mind is separate from body, and the debate is whether soul exists or not, because we can't see it. And if they exist, then there is a problem for this civilization and for your life. Because your whole life is based on body, is it? Everything revolves around body. There is no mind in your picture. Just like this food bottle. Now, you go to any store and you take that Coke and you see the ingredients. What is there? Carbohydrates, is it? Proteins, what else? Sugar probably. And then some preservatives, ingredients, and perhaps DDT. They'll not write that, but anyway. So anyway, all these. But there should be one more column there. You know what? Mind. And it is not there. And I used to think why it's not there, because every food stuff has effect on your mind. It should have effect, is it? In fact, Bhagavad Gita says every food has an effect on mind. And it's very easy to understand. You take whiskey and you drink it and your mind is out. It's very easy to understand. If whiskey can have an effect on your mind, why not this Coke, and why not your patty, why not your chapati? It has, but you don't know. Why? Because we are just interested in this body and matter. Mind is out of picture. Nobody cares about mind. Bhagavad Gita says any food which is cooked for more than 3 hours, it will make your mind dull and memory dull. So all canned foods, it should be written mind, which will make you dull. There should be a blank mind, dull. It's like that. And that's why people are not sharp in this. You might be sharp in chemistry, maths, physics, whatever it is, but not sharp in your common sense, in your intuitive insight, which philosophers had, no? To think deep. That we are not sharp. To question, okay, what is the purpose of my life? Who am I? These questions are there, but it will not click to you, because these questions need deep thinking. They don't need equations and formulas. It doesn't go like that. So, your mind is there. So, is there any proof that mind is separate from body? Is there any proof? Any scientific proof? That's what I'm talking. Because if you want to convince Sanskrit Pandit, if you want to talk to Sanskrit Pandit, in what language you talk? Sanskrit. Of course, Sanskrit. If you want to talk to a fool, then what language you talk? Huh?
Doesn't not matter.
Doesn't matter? Yeah, if you want to talk to a fool, scripture says you should talk in a language which is flattery. Don't talk logic. So you have to decide, to whom you are talking, how to talk. So if you are talking to a word which believes in science, which believes only in matter, you have to talk in scientific language, is it? You have to give them some scientific proofs. So is there any proof? Okay, let's see. What about mind? So So I'm going to give you proofs of existence of mind, soul and God. At least some kind of direction to think about. Previous to this present time, people not even thought about these things. Soul, consciousness, people used to call consciousness as the dirty C word. You know this? C, consciousness, C. Scientists used to call this a bloody C word. We don't have to do anything with it. It's all crap. But now they are talking about it. Because they are proofs. Okay, what about mind? Okay, let me show you about that. Just focus on this. Okay, this is, anybody can tell what is this?
Garry Kasparov.
Yeah, Garry Kasparov and
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue. So 1996. So this is a chess game. And you might think, what is this proof about mind? What does it have to do with mind? But it has to do everything with mind. Because Deep Blue, Artificial Intelligence, MIT, they made this. The computer was named as Deep Blue. So this is a computer. This person, he's just seeing moves in the computer and just playing that. So that happened 1996 in Philadelphia, New York, 2 matches, 6-6 each. And some match, Deep Blue won, and some Garry Kasparov. But that was okay. MIT was very happy. Okay, we made a computer which can do game, artificial intelligence, game playing, language processing, all these things. So we can beat the chess champion. So this means our computers can think. They're intelligent. But this was not a solution. This became a problem for them. Because afterwards there was scientist Hubert Dreyfus. If you read his book, What Computers Cannot Do, he published this book. And then he published again in 2000, What Computers Still Cannot Do. And he showed there that the problem was not that Deep Blue, it was a good news that Deep Blue won. But the problem was, why did Garry Kasparov win even one single game? Because Deep Blue was doing processing at the rate of 2 billion moves per minute. You can understand. If you play one move, what are the next 2 billion moves? Deep Blue could see that. And Garry Kasparov could see 5 moves. That's all. So you're competing between 5 and 2 billion. Who's going to win? Of course, Deep Blue should win every game, but it didn't. Deep Blue at least lost 4 games against Garry Kasparov. 4 games. And why? Nobody could understand. And the point was that computers can think logically and in an algorithmic way. You know algorithms, no? But Garry Kasparov was not just calculating. It was not just logic and algorithms. There was something beyond logic and algorithms. Because if it was algorithm against algorithm, he should have lost. 2 billion, 5 moves. It was more than that. And that was intuition. That's what Hubert Dreyfus said. Human mind doesn't just work like machine, like algorithms. There's something more to logic and algorithm. That is intuition. You understand? So this was man versus machine, and people were thinking, yes, there's something. Human mind cannot be just computers, or cannot be just brain. Brain are neurons, no? What is computers? Voltages? That's all. No, that's all computers. No, gates. That's all. 0, 1. That's all. What is neurons? 0, 1, 0, 1. That's all. No, fire. Don't fire. Approximately. But mind is working something different. It's intuitions. So can computer be intuitive? Hardly. Can computer? There's some things which computers cannot think, and I'll come to that point. This is one thing which people found, which mind differs from brains and machines. That intuition part is there, which is not captured by logic, which is not captured by any algorithm. And this shows that mind is separate from brain. Brain is like a computer. That's all. A hardware. Okay, next proof came from this person. Who is this? Any guess? No.
Name is written there.
Roger Penrose.
Name is written? Oh, really? So, he's Roger Penrose. You know about him? So, he This is book Emperor's New Mind. If you get hold of it, just read it. But you might become crazy after reading it. But if you're not in this field, but this is a good book if you can have a look. But so he heard about this Gary Kasparov and Deep Blue, and he thought about it, about intuition of mind, and he wrote this book and he proved he is a mathematician and a computer scientist, and he wrote and has proved in his book that mind is separate from brain. It should be, because mind can do some things which computers cannot do, and as simple as this thing, A plus B is equal to B plus A. Now computers cannot understand this, but we can. There's something called in computers as undecidable problems. You have heard about this? Uncomputable, undecidable problems. There's something which computer cannot solve. Just like this. If you tell your computer A plus B is equal to B plus A, okay, check this whether this is true for all possibilities. Do you understand? You write this, check whether for all numbers it is true, and you run the program. Will computer halt? No. Yes or no? Because they are infinite numbers. It will keep on checking. It can't halt. There's a halting problem. This program will never halt. So, for computer to come to this conclusion whether this equation is correct or not, it will keep on calculating. Because they are infinite numbers, no? 2 plus 4 is equal to 4 plus 2, 3 plus 2 is equal to 4. It will just keep on going. They are infinite. But humans can understand. No, it is correct. You can halt, no? You can see it's correct, but computers cannot. And that was Roger Penrose told. That is intuition. Humans can understand some things which computers can never. If you try to ask computers to prove this, it will halt. It can never halt. It will keep on going. It will keep on going. You understand that? This is called halting problem. Some problems in maths are logical but not computable. Logical to your mind but not computable in machine. This shows that mind is separate from brain. Something is different, no? Something is different in mind. By your hands, by your body, you can touch this wire. Things have a dimension, no? Just like this is a dimension. You can touch. There's a space. Is space occupying. But your mind has thoughts and feelings which are not space occupying things. Do you understand? They don't occupy space. You can't touch them, but they are there. So mind is categorically different from a body. Body can do some things which mind cannot, and mind can do some things which body cannot. This philosophy is called as dualism. You know dualism? Dualism. Mind and body are separate. Still it is there. Still it is there. In fact, after so much of debate, so they have a counter philosophy, monism. That mind and brain is one. And then they have different types of monism, epiphenomenalism, eliminativism, functionalism. I just forget about that. These are the names. But still people favor dualism. In fact, most of the philosophers now, there's a philosopher, Mac Collins. He calls himself as not dualism, not monism, but Mysterianism. He calls, and he's just living. He said some things science can never understand. It will always be mystery. It is not logical to believe that science can understand everything. That's faith. That's not science. Do you understand? That's faith. You're not scientific. There's so many things science doesn't understand. We only understand 5% of oceans. Just that much. 95% we don't know. We understand 0.5% of cosmos. We understand nothing about, very minimal about brain, even after all CAT scan, MRI, fMRI, whatever. And we have no understanding about consciousness. And still still science can say we can understand everything. That's a foolish proposal. It's wrong. It's wrong. So we can't believe scientists on this fact that this is all myth, soul, mind. We don't have to believe in this. This is wrong. This is wrong to say like that. So this is halting problem. You see, mind is different. And the third, who is this? Anyway, I just wrote it there. But anyway, who is that other person?
Kurt
Gödel and? Einstein. No. So I showed this picture because Gödel was a friend of Einstein. He was honored. Some people said he was even more intelligent than Einstein. They were like at par. He didn't become famous, that's one thing. But he was a genius. And Einstein used to discuss with him about mathematical philosophy, about his relativity. They had discussions, and some, not much. But they were friends. The point is, they were friends. This shows that he has got to be some super genius, otherwise Einstein will not make fools of friends. But he wrote a book. This book he wrote on formally undecidable propositions of Principia Mathematica and relative systems. Principia Mathematica was a book written by Bertrand Russell and Northfield Whitehead. You know about them? Russell and Whitehead. Mathematician. That's all. Don't worry about them. So they said that everything can be understood by maths. Mathematics, anything in maths, everything you can understand by maths. But he proved that by maths you cannot understand maths. He showed that. Okay, by maths you can understand everything. Everything includes matter, not consciousness and God. No, that is out of system. This pre-assumed for them. But then he showed, well, okay, fine, you can understand everything by maths, but maths cannot understand maths. Now, how he showed? Now, I'll just tell you. His book is complex, but the example is, what about this statement? This statement is false. Is it true or false? What do you say? You can't say. You can't say it. It is a self-referring statement, no? You can't say. If you say true, this statement is false. If it is true, then definitely it's false. If you say false, this statement is false, then it becomes true. So then, so this statement shows that there are, in maths there are certain equations. In maths, how much perfect mathematical model you make, there will be some mathematical equations in that model which can neither be proved, neither be disproved. This statement is neither yes, neither true, neither false, because you land up into contradiction then. So there are certain mathematical equations which can neither be proved, neither be disproved, but can be understood by human mind. That's what Gödel showed. So this means if you cannot prove a statement, if you cannot say it is true or false, you cannot compute it. Computer works on true and 0 and 1, that's all. If you try to put Gödel's equations in computer, it will hang. It doesn't know what to do. Yes or false. It doesn't know what to do. It's self-referential. You are getting my point? But those equations, human mind can understand very easily. Just like you can understand this equation. No? If you type the statement in computer and you ask whether it is true or false, it will hang. But if you show us the statement, we'll all laugh. No, computer doesn't laugh. No understanding. We can understand. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's funny. So human mind has those things which the machines can never have, and that is. Can you just you have to see me now. So human mind has thinking. First feel. Okay, just press again. Think, feeling, willing, and thinking. Thinking is very different from machines. Our thinking goes in intuitions. Machines cannot. Feeling, of course, computer cannot fall in love. No, is it? Your Mac can fall in love? Maybe. Some people are saying, Ray Kurzweil and some artificial intelligence people, they are saying within 10 years we'll make a Mac which is having mind and it will fall in love with Mackie. Maybe some Mackie will be there. Mac and Mackie something. But it cannot. It's rubbish to say. Feelings. How do you produce feelings in machines? How do you produce feeling in brain? Forget about machine. In brain. Brain is just a stuff, no? You have seen brain? Anybody have seen brain? You've seen? You have cut and seen? Oh, okay, fine. Okay, fine. I have seen because I was a doctor, so we used to cut and see. So what's a brain? It's just like a jelly. You can pour this brain into a bottle and just carry it. No problem. It's just a matter. It's just a fluid with some kind of neurons, and that's all. It's chemical, no? Chemical. After all, it is electron, proton, and neutron. That's all. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, potassium. That's all, no? But that kind of stuff can produce feelings. That's a mystery. Nobody understands how this is possible. Feelings. How can a dead stuff feel? Nobody knows. And this is a point for dualism. Mind is separate from brain. Mind is using brain to express itself, but it is not brain. You understand? Just like this wire, that bulb, projector bulb. So, what do you say? Is wire electricity? No, it carries electricity. So, brain carries mind, but it is not mind. It is different. And you can understand by all these, go back. You can by all these logics. And willing. Mind can will, mind can stop in between. Computers cannot. If you run a program, it will go to result. If you run, if I ask you some question, true or false, you can say either true, you can say either false, or I will say to hell with it. No. You can interrupt. That's willing, intention. You have an intention. You can do something. Computers cannot do. They will do what you ask them to do. They cannot decide on their own. That's not possible. And they can, of course, have probabilities. All those weights, artificial intelligence works on weights, no? But cannot decide something on its own. That is intention. So mind is thinking, feeling and willing, which is not there in machine. So simple to understand. Okay, this is about mind. So mind is separate from brain. We understand that. You all have mind. You all can think intuitively, not just logically. You all can love. Machine cannot love. You all can understand ethics, good and bad. Computers cannot. Machines can never do that. Ethics, aesthetics. Aesthetics means feelings. They cannot do. Creativity. No. You have to feed and then it will give. It doesn't happen. So that is why there was a philosophy, romanticism. You know about this? Romanticism at the time of enlightenment. You know enlightenment, age of enlightenment. You know some about enlightenment. So your whole university is product of enlightenment. You got enlightened suddenly 300 years back. And what was enlightenment? Science. But then there was a parallel movement. They said, okay, fine, science. But what about love and beauty? That cannot be captured by science. There is no equation with Newton or Einstein to understand what is love. There is no quantum physics of love, no? Is it? You don't say, I want to understand the molecules of my lips when I kiss some girl. So by that I can understand love. It doesn't have a theory of everything. You can't even begin to answer these questions by science. You can't even begin to answer. You can't even think how to answer these questions. Love, beauty. So there was a parallel movement, romanticism, and they were really skeptic about science, and science can understand everything. And that movement, of course, died because of invention of computers, and people got carried away by these gadgets, and they forgot. But these things are coming again now. Okay. So what about consciousness? This is about mind. Consciousness means soul, for all practical purposes. So there's brain. I told you there's senses, body, then mind, and then there is soul, separate from mind. So how do we prove this? Consciousness. And what is consciousness? So you all sleep, of course, and you dream. So in dream you are aware of your dreams. Is it? Am I aware of your dreams? No, you are only aware of your dreams. So consciousness, first thing you have to understand, it is very private. It is private to you all. I can't access your consciousness, you can't awareness. I can't access your awareness, you can't access my awareness. Or you can say experience. Experience? Now suppose you are seeing me, you are experiencing something, all of you know. But all of you are experiencing different experience about me. But I cannot say actually what you are experiencing. I can't experience your experience. That's not possible. It is subjective. It is not open to any scientific research. Is it? I can scan your brain. I can see when you experience what brain things are lighted. But I cannot have your experience. You got my point? I cannot have your experience. Never I can do that. And if you get up from dreams and you say, oh, I saw so nice dream, I got a nice experience. And then I'll say, okay, fine. When you're dreaming, I'll take your CAT scan, an fMRI, and I can see which areas are lighting, and I can exactly tell what's your dream, but I cannot have your experience. That I cannot do. So consciousness is about experience. So mind is thinking, feeling, and you are on the same page? You're not lost? Okay. But sometimes, sometimes what happens? Your mind keeps on thinking, but you're not aware. Is it? Sometimes, in a class you're listening and to the teacher and suddenly you start thinking something else. And after 2 minutes, oh my God, what I'm thinking, You're not aware of, sometimes you lose that awareness, of your thoughts. Or maybe feelings. Sometimes you're not aware of your feelings. So suppose if you're in exams and you're so much tense, you're writing and some mouse comes and, maybe mouse, not in India maybe. Not in America, but it comes and it starts biting your toe. Then, but you're involved in examinations, and after some time you start feeling, my God, something is happening. Or maybe you don't feel, you get up and see the blood and you're afraid, and then you start feeling pain. It happens many times. In India it happens, by the way. One of my friends, he was sleeping, and he suddenly got up from the sleep and there was blood on his hand. And he started shouting, who is there? He was really afraid and he started searching his house and then he slept, and then after some time his own hand slapped himself. And he was completely out. He was afraid to his nerves, and he was shouting, who is there, who is there? And suddenly he saw a mouse. And when he was sleeping, that mouse was biting his hands, and by reflex, it wanted to hit the mouse, but it slapped himself. And then later he started feeling pain when he saw that. But so feeling, you might not be aware of feeling. And even your intentions, psychopaths are not even aware of their intentions. No? They kill, they shoot, and then afterwards they realize what I have done. Psychopaths. And they end up in jails. So mind is thinking, feeling, willing, but consciousness makes us aware of them. You got my point? We get aware of your thoughts, feeling and willing. If consciousness is not there, you will not be aware of them. You will do things like a zombie or automaton. So that makes you aware. Or when you sleep and you get up, the first thing what happens when you get up in the morning? What is the first thing what happens? What happens? Come on, you are what? You are so dull or what?
You just wake up.
No, that's what happens when you wake up.
Regain consciousness. Regain consciousness.
Yeah, first thing happens is you become aware of yourself. As soon as you get up, okay, fine, I am this. No? Because you're sleeping, you forget yourself. Your consciousness is blocked.
15 minutes more.
15 minutes more? Okay, well, that's a good thing. I'm getting aware of time now. That is consciousness. Time was going. Probably my mind was recording, but I was not aware. Okay, so...
Is there any chance you can stretch another 10 minutes for question and answers?
You can do that? You can do that?
Right?
You can 5 minutes, you can 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. So that is, you understand what is consciousness. That is awareness. Awareness of you, of your body, of your mind, of your thoughts, of your feelings. So it is easy to understand consciousness is different from mind. Mind is not aware. It's just thinking, feeling, willing. Consciousness is making you aware. And that's what is all of us. And it is private, it is subjective, and it is intuitive. You don't have any experiment by which you can show that you're conscious, no? Can you prove you're conscious? Can you prove that you're aware to me? Can anybody prove it to me? Yes or no?
Yes.
How?
By movement.
No, well, you might be a zombie. Who knows? And it's a big philosophical question of zombies. Every philosophical book starts with zombie. And anyway, they started making movies on that. But zombie was a philosophical construct by philosophers. And why they made? Because of this fact. Can you prove that you are conscious? To me. To you, okay, you are. You know you are aware. No doubts. No doubts. That's a phenomena which is most near to you and most relevant. But to me you cannot prove. Because you might be zombie. You might be artificial intelligence. You might be robots. You might be Genesis, Terminator. You might be anything, no? So, but if you have to prove to me that you are conscious, I have to get inside your body. I have to relive what you live. And then I can say you're conscious. Otherwise, I cannot come to this conclusion. So the proof of consciousness is intuitive. It is not objective and scientific. By objectivity, I can never prove that you're conscious. You understand? But you know yourself and I know myself. So that shows that consciousness, it's not demonstrative. Demonstrative, you understand? You can't demonstrate, but it is intuitive. Some things are intuitive and they are not demonstrative. Just like your existence of mind, that's intuitive. You know you have mind, no? Can you argue for that? No. You know you are aware. Can you argue for that? No. Some things you have to accept. And that's what Colin McGinn said. He said for everything you don't need science. Don't ask for proof. It is intuitive. It is self-evident. There is a word is self-evident. Swataha praman. There's a Sanskrit word. Swataha praman. You don't need pratyaksh. Seeing. Can you show me? No. It is there. That is why people used to do meditation. So you close your eyes and think. And intuitive, and you can understand all these things just by thinking deep. Okay, mind is thinking, feeling, willing. Consciousness, awareness, no? I didn't give you any demonstrable scientific experiment. But I'm talking to you. And I'm making you think, and you can understand all these things. This is the knowledge of Gita. It is all said in Gita. 15 chapter, 16 chapter, 17 chapter. It is nothing new. Of course, I'm just putting some scientist into the picture. That they are also coming to this conclusion, but it was always there thousands of years back. So, okay, okay, so how do you understand consciousness is separate from brain? Okay, there are many people without brain. What do you do with them? I'll show you. Okay, it's not being told to you. Then nobody is going to tell you. They don't want to. They don't want you to know that there are people without brain and yet alive. Okay, I'll show you. There are people without function. Their brain doesn't function. Coma, you have heard about coma, no? Yes. So this is first, there are 4 proofs that consciousness or soul is different from body and brain. Coma. In coma, brain is dead. There are certain types of coma where brain is dead. And those comas are called, and those states are called vegetative states. Like extreme degree of vegetative states. Okay, next. This is a EEG of normal adult. You know seizure, epilepsy, and this is brain death. Certain states of extreme coma, they are brain death. No EEG, no voltages, no. If you put CAT scan, fMRI, no lightning, nothing. It's just blank. But nevertheless, most of the coma patients, they can hear. They can hear. I have seen patients, my patients, they can hear. And afterwards they revive from coma. So what we used to do, we used to read Gita. I generally used to read Gita, And then when I used to revive, and they used to say, okay, we used to hear that Sanskrit chanting. What was that? So more hearing is potent even in coma when they have brain death. And this shows that consciousness can function without body. You can access hearing without ears, which is almost a nightmare for scientists. You don't know how to do that, no? Because only by ears you hear, no?
Without the hardware, the software.
Something like this. Consciousness is even beyond software, yeah. So what do you do? So these people coma, it's a mystery. We don't know. Okay, and there are people without brain. This is from New Scientist, and this is these are certain scans. This is normal. This is that person. This boy. This is empty. No, you can see it's empty. It's just fluid. This is called hydroencephalus. This condition, they're fluid, no brains. But he is having normal IQ, almost average. And come on, normal IQ means he was student in MIT. He should have more IQ than normal. Yeah. And this is just one case I'm showing you. There are many cases like that all around the world. No brain, just a grey matter, thin layer of grey matter. People argue that, okay, fine, that thin layer of grey matter has taken function of entire brain. Plasticity. But that's, first to say absurd, because if such a thin layer can take function of entire brain, then according to evolution, everybody should have such kind of thin layer. No, what's the use of such a big stuffy brain carrying around? Doesn't make any sense. And that is also not good logic, because Brain has two matters, grey matter, white matter. You know, no? So white matter is out. There's no white matter. There's thin layer of grey matter. That's also very superficial. There's no explanation for this person to be alive. If life depends on brain, according to science. But yet he's alive. There are many people alive. And normal working, this shows that consciousness doesn't need brain. In fact, according to Gita, brain is actually an obstacle to the expression of consciousness. That's Bhagavad Gita. That's called liberation. You understand liberation? We're conditioned. We need brain. We're conditioned by brain and this body. When you get liberated, you're out of this body. You don't need brain. You don't need brain. This person, he doesn't need even brain while in body. That's called liberation. That's what people, when they go in samadhi and trance and they do meditation, they separate themselves from body. And by the spiritual practice, you can do that very easily. In fact, the next thing which I'm going to show you is past life memories. Can you just press once more? Yeah. You heard about this? Past life memories? So it's not just bogus thing. This is, I think this is Stevenson and Carl Stevenson, professor. He did, you can go on Google and read their books. You just get their books, beautiful books. And they have done 2,000 studies on past life memories and case control studies. It's not just jumbo mumbo. And they have concluded that people remember their past lives. How is this? And no explanation. Science doesn't want to deal with this, first of all. And if they want to deal with this, then you have to change entire scientific paradigm. You have to add something. Matter, energy and soul. Third thing, which is not actually matter in brain. So you get different bodies, you remember past lives. And this case, out of body travel. You have heard about this? Yes. Out of body experiences? Yes. So many people experiencing out of body experiences. Leave their body, see from above, and they can see what's happening with their body and they re-enter the body. So everywhere, not just India, this female Pam Reynolds, she is from Virginia. Now most of this out of body experience, scientists say, there's a scientist Susan Greenfield, she said, well, these are hallucinations. They say like that. You leave the body, they're hallucinating something, you know. But this case is very important into science because this case was a case control case. She got out of body experience while she was in operation theatre. She had a brain, you see this? This is her blood vessel in brain. It is called as aneurysm. So they wanted to operate it. And this aneurysm was at the base of the brain. So to get that out, you have to freeze the brain. Because if you don't freeze the brain, and if you just put the knife, you can take out this aneurysm, but then you will puncture so many blood vessels and whole brain is going to get full of blood and the patient will die. So they freeze the brain, they stop the heart, they stop the lung. That's the normal operations you do, brain operations. Heart, lung stopped. You put in heart, lung machines. And brain is frozen. She's practically brain dead. Next you can do. Yeah, okay, so this is her brain waves. It's just flat. These are awake and sleeping. This is flat. Okay. And this is her next. Yeah. This is a lung. This is normal. This is flat. And the next. So it was a standstill operation. She was practically dead. But nevertheless, she came back and she said, I saw everything. She exactly repeated what doctors were speaking. She told what instruments were used in spite of having no knowledge of medicine. And she said, I went up and I saw my grandfather and I talked to them and I saw a light and it was full of love. I was absolutely devoid of fear. This is one thing. Most of the patients who undergo out-of-body experience, they say we absolutely was without fear because now you're not linked to body. Body brings fear, no? Fear of death, fear of disease, something will happen to me. If you understand out of this body, fearless. That's why saints were fearless. And fearlessness brings satisfaction. Is it? And peace. We all have so many desires just because we fear. That is Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. Why do you want so many things? Not because you want that, because you fear. You have fear inside you. If I don't get career, what will happen? It's like that, no? If I don't get good job, then money, what will happen then in life? We keep on thinking in subconscious mind. And to defend ourselves from fear, we keep on doing things. What will happen if I don't see movie? I'll become bored. So you have your fear of boredom. You see? That's why you make friends. If I don't have friends, I'll get bored. Okay, so you have fear of boredom. You have fear of becoming poor. You have fear of becoming lonely. So to counteract that fear, you keep on doing things. But if you understand you're not this body, no fear. Finish. So she told everything. And she written a book. You go on Google and see her interview. Please see that. Pam Reynolds. Type that. Today go and see her interview. Her ears were closed. Her eyes were taped. She was practically dead. And at that time she got out of body experience. How do you explain that? No explanation. Just one explanation. And Thomas Nagel, he said that it's better for science to accept that consciousness or soul is separate from body. Otherwise, you'll end up wasting huge amount of money just to prove that there's no soul. Just waste of time and money. So, and this is Thomas Nagel. Heart problem. What it is like to be a bat. Like for a bat to be a bat. So that is, I was talking about experience. So you can never know what bat experience is in his mind. You have to become a bat. That experience is different. That consciousness is different. Okay. This is about soul. And just I'll take 5 minutes more and I'll finish here. What about God? Does God exist? Is there any scientific proof of God? Yes, of course. There are. Okay, I'll just show you. You know this. So you know this Big Bang. You know about Big Bang. So scientists like to say everything starts from Big Bang cosmos. You want to leave? They want to leave? You can just wait for 2-3 minutes. Or you have a class? Okay. Okay, if they want to go. I don't know. It's up to you. 2 minutes. I'm just getting up. And this is more important. God. This is the important thing. So there is God, and if you say everything began from Big Bang, you know, I was attending a scientist meeting and there was a Nobel Prize winner, Vikram Singhe. He was involved in this Big Bang theory and also theory of panspermia. And he said, okay, everything became from Big Bang and all this, and it exploded. So one person asked, so who caused that Big Bang? Who caused that Big Bang? So you know what he said? This question is not allowed. So there's a first cause. Everything has a cause and effect. So there has to be a first cause of everything. If you say Big Bang, then somebody has to initiate that, no? Has to start that. But that science will not accept. But Veda says, yes, God is the initial cause of everything. There's a cause of all causes. There are other causes, but if you go behind first causes, God, otherwise you cannot explain the whole picture. You have to stop there. Okay, Big Bang, and okay, after that, no, don't ask. And that doesn't appear, that is not so logical to accept that kind of reasoning. And the second is, you know what is this? Everybody knows genes. But you don't know one thing, that genes have codes, genetic code. Is it? You know this, no? CCG, UAC, codon, triplets. Now, it has information, no? But the question scientists are not able to answer. Okay, fine, you can have codes by evolution and permutation combination. What about information? From where information comes? Information you have to put in that codes. You understand? So if I say you, what is LOVE? What is this? Can you understand that? Okay. What is CHUI? What's that? Can you understand that? Nothing, no. But that means beauty in Chinese. But you can't understand. So there's syntax but not semantics. You understand? There's a syntax, there's a sequence of words, but you don't know the meaning. Meaning was put into those words by Chinese. Okay, this means this. So you have this code, but who has put the meaning in this code? Somebody has to put. Just like Chinese put that meaning of chui, beauty, or meaning of love as something you love. You could have also put olve, always. This means love. You can humans can do that. Okay, fine. But so that's language. So this is language of genes. Who has put that language? Nobody knows. And according to Vedas, according to Ayurveda accepts genes, and they say yes, God has put this information. You can't explain this information from this. Semantics has to be put. You know this Shannon's information theory? You can put syntax. You can pass information, but to decode that information you need a person. Isn't it? You can pass security codes, but to decode you need a person. Okay, this means this. Otherwise it is all gibberish. Doesn't make any meaning. So body translates these codes into a particular meaning, isn't it? You have cells, and then some codes make hands, some ears, some. It has meaning in it. Who has put? Nobody knows. So genes have meaning put by God. It has mind also in genes, that Veda says, and it has time. This is recent research what scientists are coming to conclusion. There has to be time in genes. Because different times of different organs are made, no? 6 months heart is made. Embryology. 4 months hands. Who decides time? Where is time in this? CCGU codes. It has to be this thing. Time is God. It is said in Bhagavad Gita. It keeps on flowing. There is no explanation of time in science. Nobody knows what is time. Newton used time, but what is time? Nobody knows. It's a mystery. And that we say it's God. Okay. Krishna says, I am God, I am time. He is James Gates, and he is a physicist, theoretical physicist. And there was classical physics, then quantum physics. You know about this, no? Electron, photons, then there are quantum, bosons, leptons, then there are beautiful, ugly, up, down, all these. And then you have strings. You see, they're trying to peel off the layers. So you have matter, then atoms, then subatomic particle, then you have quantums, then you have strings, and he said even there is something below strings. And what are those? Those are computer codes. He said, he's coming to this conclusion, he's a theoretical physicist, and he says there is something computer codes behind all of this. It's almost like matrix. Matrix you have seen? It's all computed. And this has brought a fierce debate in physics. If there is a code behind reality, there has to be intelligence. What do you do with that? People cannot figure out. There's a debate with this person, Neil Tyson. He's a strong atheist. So he was shocked when he had an interview with this person. So physics is coming to this point. And last is quantum physics, where it is inescapable to conclude there is universal consciousness. You know quantum physics, no? You know these two experiments. So you put one electron, and if you don't see that electron, then there will be waves. But if you see that, there will be this. So observation matters in experiment. That was very new. Previous to quantum physics, observation didn't matter. If you see, result will be something else. If you don't observe, result will be something else. So quantum physics brings consciousness into picture. And that says entire world there is consciousness. And that we know. We say God is omnipotent, omnipresent. Omnipresent. So is omnipresent as universal consciousness. Quantum physics has to accept, but they're not coming to this conclusion. They're saying calculate, that's all, Make machines and that's all. Don't discuss about all these things. This is metaphysics. And the last example I'm going to give you is simple. There is God, and that example is sleep. And Krishna says in Gita that in Vedas it is said, God says, I give you every day the presence, the sign of my presence. But humans are fools that they cannot see me, because you're so much involved in this material world. And sleep is a beautiful example of presence of God. And you sleep, we all sleep. So who makes you sleep? Your brain? Science even do not know why do we sleep. You might say to conserve energy. No. That's not the reason. The science doesn't accept that. So why do you sleep? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, in spite of so much advancement in neurology. And the more amazing fact is, how do you wake up? Who makes you wake up? Who wakes you up? Yourself? Your alarm? Even if you don't put alarm, you will wake up. So why? So Krishna says, Mattah smritir jnanam apuhanam cha. It is I who make people sleep and make them wake. And in sleep, one thing happens, I told you in beginning, you lose your consciousness, no? You forget yourself. It's almost impossible to do so. You can't forget yourself even for 1 by 1 infinite of second when you are awake, no? But sleep daily happens. 6 hours you have forgotten yourself. There is a superior power which makes you forget. Because according to evolution, you should not sleep. Because if you forget yourself, then you are at danger of being killed. As a primate, no? So humans are most evolved, so your sleep should be very less. Or maybe like dolphins. Dolphins sleep half brain once and half brains another. You know this? Dolphins sleep 3 hours, this brain will sleep, 3 hours this brain. And this you keep on seeing because she can be attacked. So maybe we could have slept like that, okay, 3 hours. and then you can do your homework and you can be more productive. It doesn't happen like that. So sleep flies in the face of evolution. Nobody can understand why but yet we sleep by some superior power. And God says, I make people sleep and make them wake. He gives a sign daily. And that is the presence of God. You can see when you sleep or when you are in meditation. And that's what science, that's the proof of mind, soul and God. And my request is, please read Bhagavad Gita at least once in your life. Get that book, maybe from net or somewhere. Read that and try to understand all these things and perfect your life. That is the aim of life. That is the purpose of life. To understand you're not this body. Not just to care this body every time. To understand what is God, what is consciousness. Where are my books? I just want to... So, thank you very much for hearing. Hare Krishna.